Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give an update on the SHiPP program, Swiss Hepatitis Free in Prison program. And I would like to underline initially that this is a snapshot as for today of a program that is ongoing. This program is financed from public sources as well as from unrestricted grants from the pharmaceutical companies. So this is a busy slide. It's not meant to be read. It's just to show you that we try with our program to follow the WHO recommendation to have a comprehensive approach with aims and goals which include to raise awareness as well as knowledge among prison inmates and also prison staff. The core goal and aim is to initiate local projects which follow the entire pathway of care and treatment, including prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and follow-up after dismission for viral hepatitis, but we always include HIV disease as well. And we try to initiate programs in very heterogeneous institutions. One has to acknowledge that we have 90 detention facilities in Switzerland, and this in a healthcare system which includes 26 different systems, which are the cantonal system. So we have to choose a bottom-up approach. Every initiative that comes from the top in Switzerland will fail. We have to identify specific local barriers and find solutions to overcome those barriers locally. And we include reduction of stigma, and we try to reach equity of care, which is especially an issue within the prisons in Switzerland as well. And finally, our initiative is designed to support the transfer of the lessons learned during the projects to standard medical care after the project period. And this is the situation as for today. We have been able to initiate projects in 8 cantons depicted on the slide. Since in 2 cantons we have 2 prisons with separate projects, we are now running 10 projects. As you see, it is nicely distributed throughout Switzerland, but the projects are very heterogeneous in terms of size, in terms of type of prisons, and as well as in terms of health policy locally. We hope and we expect to have much more projects in the near future. We are trying to have even a more representative coverage throughout all these categories of prisons and regions. And this is what comes out from 5 centers that were able to send us their first experience. So what is shown is data from 5 prisons, prisons A to E, and on the very left you see the people at risk or the eligible people, which were new entrances, new admissions during a defined period of time. And when you put those tested in relation to those eligible, you will see the test rates here. And the first observation is that the test rates are very heterogeneous. And there are 2 major explanations behind this. Prison B and prison E has chosen to keep on with venous testing, which is still a limitation. And prison B has still sticked to some opt-in test strategy. So they haven't changed what has been the standard for the other prisons already. And as you've seen, some of the prisons do very well already now. You see that when you look for it, you will find cases. This is true for HIV and HPV. The number of cases are low, and we may have a closer look to hepatitis C. And the real prevalence rate is still open. I think we have to remain very carefully for the moment being, since the numbers are still low. We will have much more data within a few months or so, but the real prevalence rate could be between 1% and 3%. As you see in prison E, the prevalence rate, which may be more representative for that prison, is higher. I personally think this is the highest possible bound of the prevalence rate, and one has to acknowledge that with venous testing and testing roughly half of the new admissions, you might have a selection bias towards higher risk behavior in the history. So your prevalence rate may be estimated too high. Interestingly, in this single prison, one finds that 17 out of 64, which have a HCV positive serology, tested, by the way, by saliva testing, will have chronic hepatitis C, and this is quite similar to the data that Andrea just has shown. I can construct a cascade from the one prison that has sent us representative data. So out of the 1,800 that were admitted, one has to realize that about 17 remained less than a week in the prison and never were offered actually tests. And this is an aspect one has to consider, that this happens in every single prison, that you will have a couple of inmates that come in and just stay for a few days, and those will actually have very difficulties to get access to testing. So the real test rate could be shown differently, as I have shown in the table. When starting from all the new admissions, the test rate in this institution has been 43%, but it comes up to 50% when you consider only those that really had access to tests. So I guess this is about the maximum one can reach with venous testing approaches. And then it goes on with the rates that you have already seen in the table, but just to show them here one more time, 5.7% of those tested will be positive in this institution, and a little bit more than a third of those tested positive will have chronic hepatitis. 15 out of 17 in this institution have been treated so far. One not treated had obviously a very resistant strain, and he waits for treatment after dismission. So I would like to conclude with the lessons learned so far within our program. So case finding is possible in Swiss prison. It is cumbersome. You will detect a low number of infections in most institutions, but there will be no overload of services, which is one of the concerns that has been mentioned very frequently. An opt-out test strategy is essential to reach high test rates, which should be 80% or more. Medical motivation, of course, is crucial. Financing still remains an issue. Financing to go ahead for medical workout and, of course, to treat. But surprisingly, there are institutions that find ways to finance everything, even for those who have no healthcare coverage in Switzerland. Crucial is also a follow-up care for those who have early dismission or transition to other prisons. This must be addressed, as well prevention, which always must be part of the program. With that, I would like to close with one of the possible definitions what could be an elimination in a prison setting. And this is one of the definition that is possible. One has to find, one has to test at least 95% of the prison population during a certain time of observation. And also during a certain time of observation, one has to treat 90% of those tested positive. And there should be a process in place to observe what is the evolution of treatment uptake, of testing, and so on, what all you read here. So we are under the way in Switzerland. We are not there yet, but that would be the goal, the final goal to reach. That's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.